Children with special needs. Start again. Children with special needs need unstructured play to work on the skills, the social and emotional skills that will move them forward in their development so that they can become children who are attentive during interactions with people, invested, interested, curious. So it doesn't feel when your child is with you like you're pulling teeth. And the advantage to taking this approach, as opposed to working on maybe higher level skills and not shoring up those foundational capacities, the advantage to this approach is that you will have a child who is much easier to teach and much more independent in learning about her environment on her own, because children are, typical children are good at learning from their environment without an adult having to do too much, because they're sponges. They're curious. They want to know. They're invested. They want to see what mommy's doing, what mommy's talking about. They're attentive. So these are all skills that children with special needs are often lacking in. They're not solid in these skills. And by working on those foundational capacities, you will be creating a situation where your child can then move herself forward in her development on her own. So let's talk about these foundational capacities that all children need to pass through, to master, and children with special needs are often lacking in. These are based on the 6 stages of social and emotional development that were discovered by Dr. Stanley Greenspan and Dr. Serena Wieder, who founded the DIR Floor Time methodology. And the first 3 stages are the most important stages. They're the stages that I'm going to be talking about, because there's so often gaps for children with special needs in these first 3 stages, and without having really solid skills in these first 3 stages, you have a child who can learn, but it's always frustrating, and they always need special instruction in order to learn, because they need special incentives to pay attention, and special attention in smaller classes, and so many accommodations in order to pay attention and learn and be interested and be invested. And what we would love is to have children who don't need all of these accommodations and who can do better on their own according to their potential. So the first stage is regulation and shared attention. And that's a child who's calm, who has the ability to go from being upset to being calm within an interaction with an adult. And also a child who's attentive, who is aware of your presence in the room and who's paying attention to you. And we're not talking about the type of attention that teachers are requiring in school, where the child is sitting in a desk and having to act as if he's attentive. This is a type of attention where the kid is really interested, curious, motivated. So it has to be genuine, it has to be real in order for it to be true attention, because otherwise, if you try to force attention, you're not dealing with a child who's really able to stay with the interaction and learn from the interaction, because the attention is not really there, it's just being faked. The second level is engagement. Engagement is when a child is invested in the interaction. So they're not just attentive, but now you can see from the gleam in their eye, from their facial expressions, their body language, their gestures, they are really so motivated by the interaction and invested in the interaction, and they can stay with the interaction for whatever age expected period of time that's expected for their age or their level of development. So that's engagement. And there you have a child who's so motivated to learn, so easy to teach, and And this is where children need to be to really benefit from teaching, from learning situations. The third level that I'm going to talk about is circles of communication. And that's just back and forth interaction. But the important thing about it is that it's in a continuous flow, without breaks, without distractions, without feeling like you're having to reel the child back in. The child is just there with you, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And kids are supposed to be able to do this 30 to 50 times or more in a row, just a continuous flow. So this could be verbal, but it can also be nonverbal for kids who are not verbal yet, or even for kids who are verbal. So it could be peekaboo games, anything, any type of gesture, any type of body language also is part of a back and forth interaction, imitating facial expressions. The important thing is that it be going back and forth in a continuous flow for many, many, many turns in a row. Then a child has mastered that stage. I'm going to take a break for a minute to check the camera.
I have class at 2.
Okay, so let me try to finish quickly. So many, many, many children with special needs have gaps at these early levels, even if they have much higher level skills. They may be reading, they may be writing, they may be able to do math problems, but you still might have a child who's really inattentive, a child who's constantly getting distracted. You have a hard time, having a complete conversation with that child. So that child may be lacking skills at these early levels. So the way to work on these early levels is by first giving your child space, unstructured time to see what they will do. And then whatever it is that they're doing, whether it seems, like appropriate to you or inappropriate, you would join in. So unlike a child with typical needs, your child may choose something to do that seems a little bit less purposeful to you. And this also depends on how impaired your child is. So your child may be flapping his arms or running in circles or lining up his toys or whatever it is that he's doing. You would just join in without judgment, with enthusiasm, with interest. And, parents are worried, well, I'll be reinforcing this, inappropriate behavior. But what happens is when you join in, it takes the focus off the inappropriate behavior, which previous to this, that was, the reinforcer. That's what the kid was motivated by. And now you've taken the focus off that as the reinforcer, and now you're the reinforcer. And that's what we want, because we want the relationship to become more important to the child than the less purposeful behavior that he was engaged in. So by joining in with a lot of interest, with a lot of enthusiasm, now you've shifted your child's focus without any strong arm tactics, without any tough love. You've just shifted your child's focus from that activity that was less than purposeful to you. And that's what we want, because how do we achieve the first 3 levels? The child's attention needs to be on you because he wants to be attending to you. So how can we get him to want to attend to you? Only by you joining him. Then it's interesting to him. If you're lining up the toys with him, he wants to see where you're going to put the next car. Now he's attending to you, and that's true, genuine, shared attention. And engagement comes when he starts laughing and having a really good time with you, or you can see from the gleam in his eye that he's really excited when you take your turn lining up the cars. And then the back and forth interaction will start as you start handing each other cars. So you're working on these first 3 levels, and yes, you're having to do it by joining him. But what happens is, as you do this, the child becomes more and more motivated by his interactions with you. And rather than you having to initiate, he starts initiating more. He starts seeking you out more. You know, let's line up the cards together. Great, you know, and then he starts tolerating gradually more and more little changes in the play. You don't have to keep following it exactly as he intends. You can start making little changes once you see that he's really invested. Don't do it before that. First get him really interested, really invested. Then you can start making little changes, and then gradually the cars can start driving places before they go back to their line. And you take baby steps, small steps, pulling him out of his comfort zone into showing him other possible ways for him to play. And if he's attending to that and able to start imitating that, then that's learning. So what you've done is you've helped your child become more competent at those first 3 levels. And by doing so, you've created a learner, a child who's starting to learn from you, starting to imitate you. And learning is imitation or joining in or watching. That's how you know that your child is learning, because that's how children learn. They learn from their most trusted adults, watching them, imitating them, and joining in. Okay, check the top of the phone, make sure it's still going. Yeah, okay. What else did I want to say about that? So I hope all of you parents were able to get a little more inspired to, I'll start over again. So I hope all of your So I hope all of you parents of children with typical needs, parents of children with special needs, have gotten a little inspiration from this video to follow your children, give them unstructured time, see what they want to do, join in, deepen your bonds, have fun together, and know that at the same time you're working on those really important social and emotional skills that your child needs for his future success in life. I'm very interested to hear any comments, any questions. You can email me at Tali. Okay, I'm going to start that little part again. I'm very interested to hear any comments, any questions. You can email me at the address on the screen, Connect with Floor Time. That may not be on the screen. Okay, so I'll start that again. I'm very interested to hear any comments, any questions. You can email me at connectwithfloortime@gmail.com, and that address will be on the screen. And you can feel free to leave a comment below in the comments section, and any questions, any comments, I'm very interested to hear. If you have any future video requests, okay, I'm going to start that whole comments, questions thing. Let me check if the time is still going on. Okay. I'm very interested to hear any comments, any questions that parents have. You can email me at connectwithfloortime@gmail.com. You can leave comments or questions below if you have any future video requests. I would just love, okay, what am I ending with? Be healthy and stay safe. I'm very interested to hear if parents have any questions, any comments. You can email me at connectwithfloortime@gmail.com. You can leave comments below, and you can, okay. Again, I'm very interested to hear if any parents have any questions, any comments. You can email me at connectwithfloortime@gmail.com. You can leave comments below. Everyone be healthy and stay safe. Okay. I'm very interested to hear if anybody has any questions, any comments. You can email me at connectwithfloortime@gmail.com. You can leave comments below. Everyone, please be healthy and stay safe.